everyone, I hope you are all keeping well. Welcome to episode 22 of the Parenting in My Pocket video Q&A. So I hope you've all been having a good week and things have been treating you as well as can be expected. I suppose everybody's under quite a lot more stress and pressure than maybe they would usually be with the lockdown in many countries. And look, we're all doing the best that we can to try and manage things, and it's really challenging. But it's not impossible, and we will get through it. I think it's really important for us to remember that we will, for the most part, we will get through this, and things will generally be pretty much okay for most of us. Not everyone. It doesn't mean that we won't have difficulties, but what I mean is that this will build resilience within us to know that we can manage things that maybe don't turn out the way we want them to. So keep the faith, everyone, keep the faith. So today we've got a couple of questions, a bit different to what we normally have, and we will get to them. I suppose we are up to episode 16, I think, on the Parenting in My Pocket podcast, which is out every week. So it is it's flying through. We're getting really good interactions. We're getting really good feedback from people, which is good. We're glad you're enjoying it. This week's one is a really good one. Mary reads out a little story that she knows, and we talk around that. So it's a really enjoyable one, and I think it's great. Maria's asking, what's the weather like in Ireland? The weather we've had a bit of snow. And when I say a bit of snow, I don't mean a huge amount of snow, but I mean a bit of a spattering of snow that stuck around for a bit. Yesterday there was more in Drogheda, but I've had clients during the day say to me that it's been snowier today for them than it was yesterday. The snow has kind of melted away here now, but kids got out, got to throw a few snowballs, which is good fun for everybody. So it's one of those things, I have seen some photos and videos of people showing like the snow they got, and it's just, look, it doesn't matter how old I get, I love the snow. It just makes me feel great. I'm like a big child. So yeah, Kaylin, you've had a lot of snow. Look at you. Hi, Kathy. That's great to hear that you've had a lot of snow. I hope you've been having fun with it, building snowmen and snow women and playing snowball fights. So it's grand. Hopefully it'll snow again, but I don't know if it will. We'll see. What else have we got coming up? So we have extended our online course offer. So if you head over to teachable.com/helpmetoparent, you will find, or just go to our Help Me to Parent site and go to the online courses. You'll be brought the link, and we've kept the deal going there. And there's not much else. We got a Parenting After Separation course coming up in March, but that's it. We're just chucking away and trying to keep things going and keep people interested. So we're going to crack straight into today's questions. Myself and my husband have been together for 7 years and have a beautiful baby boy who's coming up to his first birthday. We were older getting together as we had both been focusing on our careers and both been rather successful. We decided in our early 40s to try for a baby, and while it took a few years longer than we hoped, our boy came along just after my 46th birthday. We've been overjoyed, and I will admit I do have a little regret that I didn't have children sooner, as the arrival of my son has made me happier than anything I've ever achieved in business. The issue I have is my mother-in-law. She constantly makes comments about the challenges I will be facing as an older parent. I'm well aware that I will be in my 60s before my son turns 18, and I have my own concerns about how we'll manage, but it's really not helpful. When our son arrived, she was over all the time, and while she was helpful at times, I felt really disempowered and a bit lost as she kept taking over when I was changing nappies or getting bottles ready. She was saying she was there to help me, but really it was more of a stress for me than anything else. I tried to speak to my husband about it, but he just shrugs it off and just says that that's just how she is and it doesn't mean anything, and she doesn't mean anything by it, but it really frustrates me and hurts me. I'm trying my best as a new mum, and I doubt myself all the time, and I feel scrutinised any time she comes around, to the point that my anxiety levels are through the roof if I know she's calling around. Have you any suggestions on how I can manage this better? I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for new mums, because you are stepping into a situation that you have no real experience of. So let me preface this in terms of, you may have experience of helping to bring up siblings, you may have experience of supporting your siblings with their children, but there is nothing that can prepare you for having your own little baby that you know relies completely 100% on you, and the emotional impact that can have on you. And I'm not saying that as in trying to scare people off, but what I'm saying is that it's just the reality. We have no idea what to expect. We know what we can expect, but the reality can sometimes throw us for a loop, and we may not know if we're doing a good job or not. And on top of that, in this situation, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who've experienced something similar, where you have a family member who steps in to try and help you and try and take some of that stress off you, because maybe they've experienced similar, I suppose, challenges when they had their own children. But how these people step in to try and help us may actually be more of a hindrance than a help. So, okay, let's just throw this out there first. If you are helping somebody who is a new parent, you will have the best of intentions. You will want them to know that you're there and that you can take some of the pressure off them. But what I'd say is, ask them, what do you need me to do right now? And I'll do whatever that is. Don't necessarily presume to know what they need. They might say, I actually don't know what I need you to do. I'm just so all over the shop. I don't know if I'm coming or going. What they might say to you is, I need you to wash the kitchen floor. Would you mind cleaning the bathroom? Would you mind going? I just need to get some rest. And while the baby's asleep, I need to sleep as well. So ask. If you're supporting someone bringing up a child, ask them, what do you need from me? And if they can't tell you, or if they say, I just need you to go, try not to take it personally. Just put yourself in the position of them, and they are just trying to get through the day as best they can and trying to keep themselves going. And if they make mistakes, you don't need to point them out. And you may be pointing it out from a perspective of, this could be easier if you do this. That may not be what they need to hear. What they might need is just that little bit of support. So that's just one little piece of advice I would give to those of you who are out there to try and help other people who are bringing up new babies. Just ask how you can help. And if they say, F off, just go, no problem. And don't take it personally, because they may be really struggling within themselves to deal with things, and they just can't articulate what it actually is they want or need, and they may just need to be left alone, and that's okay. In terms of this mum, so absolutely, we hear an awful lot in the media about how difficult it can be being an older parent, and we have all the joy in the world when our child comes into the world. We're probably a lot more settled, a lot more confident within ourselves, maybe been, as this lady has said, quite successful in business and in her career, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I am going to be 60 before they're out of their teenage years. And then people talk about all the challenges that teenagers bring. But there's a few things I'd say. One, you might have a teenager who's blissful. who gives you very little hassle, who's just wonderful, who gets up, cleans the house, does everything. There's as much chance of that happening as an absolute tearaway. And what you do now can heavily influence that. So in terms of how your child may or may not turn out, by you putting structure and boundaries in place as they grow, you don't have it all in now, but as they grow, then you're giving yourself the best chance of having a child who understands that you will keep them safe. Okay? Now, in terms of your mother-in-law, absolutely, I would go back and sit your husband down. And this is not what you need. It's not fair. It's not right. But it just is what it is. And what you're doing is you're making yourself potent. You're being assertive and saying, I need to do this so that in the long term I can actually handle this. So have the conversation with your husband, but jot down beforehand, prepare yourself. These are the things that are causing me stress. And they're making me question myself. And him saying to you, don't worry about it, it's just the way she is, doesn't actually help you, because, actually show him this, it doesn't actually help your wife, because she's feeling the emotions she's feeling, and she's fully entitled to feel those emotions. And it's not your responsibility to be taking care of your mother-in-law and saying to her, F off and leave me alone. So it's okay to sit down with your husband, jot down the things, and be specific. Because in my experience, a lot of guys are work on the logical level. So if your mum is calling around, I need her to do this, 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 and this. Not this, not this, not this, not this. I don't need her to talk to me about this is how hard it's going to be, these are the mistakes that I'm making, this isn't, and whether he says it's just how she is, it doesn't matter. It's up to him to go to her and lay out, Mum, when you come over, do this, 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 and this. Don't do this, 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 and this. And don't say to my wife that it's, difficult when because she's going to be an older mum. She may turn out to be the best mum in the world. Okay? Now, he may not follow through on that. And if he doesn't, that brings you to another position. And like I will always say, if you have to sit down with your mum-in-law to have a conversation about this, the very first thing to do is acknowledge. Okay? Because the chances are she is coming from a position of wanting the best for you, trying to be helpful, but she may not understand that what she's doing is actually the opposite of that. But when we want to get our point across to anybody, the very first and simplest thing to do is acknowledge what they've done or their intention. Whatever your mum-in-law's name is. I really appreciate the help you've given. And some of the things you've done have been really, really good at taking that pressure off me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. In order for me to find my feet in terms of being a mum and getting a routine going, I've actually, because of your help at the start, I'm now in a position to change nappies for myself and get the bottles ready and swaddle the baby properly. So thank you for your support around that. I really appreciate it. Do you know what would be really helpful? If you could call around on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday, and if you wouldn't mind just hoovering the house, or if you wouldn't mind just doing a batch of laundry, or even just drop around for a cup of tea so we can talk about the weather and maybe bring a dinner that I can stick in the oven later on. That would be really, really helpful. Now, if that doesn't suit you, that's absolutely fine. I completely understand. You have been so helpful to me so far, so I don't want you under pressure. And if you are going to turn around to me and say, well, look, I've got quite a bit on my plate at the moment, I completely understand. You do what you need to do. But if you are going to call around, or if you do want to call around, maybe if you call around at these times on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday, that'd be really helpful. Because see, the other times, like, say 12 and 1 o'clock, that's when the baby's asleep. And in order for me to be able to get things done, get the washing on, or get the bottles cleaned and made, and get a bit of sleep, because, you know yourself what it's like. They're not sleeping at night too well at the moment. I need to try and catch up on some sleep. So if you can call around these times, that'd be fantastic. If you can do this, that'd be fantastic. If you can do that, that'd be fantastic. How does that sound to you? If she's mortally wounded and offended by it, that's her stuff to deal with. If she gets the hump, that's her stuff to deal with. At least she's not coming around and getting in the way. And she might actually go, that's absolutely fine. Actually, it suits me better to call around on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday morning because I have these other things on. And I am more than happy to cook a meal or two and bring them round to you. And you know what? Maybe on Fridays, what I'll do is I'll come over and you can go and have a lie down and I'll just play with the baby and feed him a bottle. Or I'll put him down to sleep. You can go to bed. How does that sound to you? And that way, you're setting up the platform for you guys to be able to build some sort of boundaries, but also you can still get the support and you're not having to turn around and tell her to F off. So it might be better in the long run for everyone. So have the conversation with your husband first. Or after listening to this, you may turn around and say, well, actually, me having the conversation with her is probably better than my husband because he'll be too blunt and he'll say, Ma'am, you're pissing off my wife. And that's not going to be good. So maybe from this question now, you'll be able to go away and go, well, actually, I think I'll do that conversation with her myself first. And that might be of benefit for everybody. And just see how you get on. But acknowledgement, very first protocol. And for any of you guys listening right now, I'd say if you want to get somebody to understand your perspective, or if you have somebody in your life who isn't doing what you need them to do, acknowledge them first. It gives you the best chance of being able to maneuver the conversation and the situation to something more positive. Because if we go in and we're like, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing the other, and it's really pissing me off, their back is going to be up, and what are they going to do? They're going to get defensive and either attack you back or not talk to you or cause you more stress. So acknowledge first and see how you get on. Hello Louise, good to see you. Jennifer, afternoon. Lisa, also sometimes it's better to offer to just do something, make dinner. There you go. Great minds think alike rather than ask. When you're overwhelmed, you don't always know what you need, and directing others to help you is an added burden. Absolutely true. Hello Matteo, hope you're keeping well. Shame builder for losing. Yes, let's not talk about it. Caitlin, I've helped Maria since both her girls were born, and nearly 9 years later I'm still helping as they're growing up. That's fantastic. So, just being there and being a support is really, really good. Okay, question 2. I need a drink of water. I'm a single mum of 3 children. My children are all in their teens and are fairly self-sufficient. I feel I've done a pretty decent job bringing them up on my own without their dad being around much. It's been a real struggle at times, but they're pretty good kids and they work hard in school, and we all get on really well. I've come to a point now where I think I would like to get back out there and may start dating again. I was really hurt when their dad left and swore myself off men for good. I didn't have the time or desire to meet anyone, and while different men came in and out of my life at different times, I didn't want to get into any kind of relationship. As the kids need me less and less, I think I'm entitled to start to build a life for when they leave, which will probably be in the next few years. I'd like to just see what it's like and have a little fun. I've discussed it with my children and they've said to go for it. The thing is, I'm really nervous. I'm worried that maybe I'm not attractive enough or don't know how to have a relationship, as I know things have changed so much over the years. I really don't want to have my heart broken, and at the same time, I really don't want to hurt anyone else. I know you deal with parenting, but maybe you can reassure me and give me some advice. Thanks. Yeah, so it is a very different world when you have been raising children for the last whatever amount of years, and especially on your own, where you have to almost fight every day to keep some sort of structure and keep a roof over their head sometimes. So, well, first things first, well done. Well done for, actually getting them to the point where you guys have got a good relationship and they don't need you as much. That means you've done a very good job. And you're absolutely right. And it's great to hear you think about these things about, well, my kids are going to be moving on. They don't need me as much, and I can build the life that I want now because I'm not done yet. So that's really, really good to hear. And absolutely, the trepidation that you might feel, or the worry or concern you might have around starting a relationship, well, the last relationship you had, okay, it resulted in 3 lovely children, but it didn't turn out that well. And as you said, you got really, really hurt when your husband left, or your partner left. First thing I'd say is, just because that happened doesn't mean it won't happen again, right? Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean it will happen again. And with any relationship, there's always a certain amount of risk, and things may work out, they may not work out. And I think if you can try and be true to yourself, right? So obviously I deal a lot with parenting, but I deal with a lot of relationship stuff, and I've dealt with a lot of people, clients who have been looking to get their life back on track after their children have grown up and moved off, or they're looking at, well, what about me? And one of the things that I found over and over and over again is that they will have friends or relatives or people who will say, just go out there and these are the rules, and you do this, 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 and this, and this, and make sure you don't do this, and 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 you don't do this. Like, whatever you do, don't do those. And you can be like completely overwhelmed because you're going, I just want to go and have a chat with somebody in a conversation and see if we've got common interests. And I've also worked with people who have gone into relationships and they find themselves second guessing themselves and going, do they actually like me? And they haven't called me now in a couple of days. And is that the normal thing? Like, should I be expecting something else? Or should, and I really want to call them, but my friends are saying don't call them because, that's showing too much eagerness. But I just want to say hello and have a conversation and say, do you fancy meeting up? You need, scratch the need. The most effective way for you to conduct a relationship is to be yourself. You don't need to try and be somebody different, because then you're not being authentic. And then when you're not being authentic, you have to keep up a facade. So if you picture, I suppose, those people, on Instagram, right, who will do the transformation. My daughters show me this all the time. Like, people who show a photograph of themselves without makeup on, and then they do all their amazing makeup, and literally they look like completely different people, like completely different. And that's not criticizing them, but they just look like 2 separate different people. And essentially that's what happens if you go out and you try to be this fully dolled up makeup person, because at some point, if your relationship is going well, the other person has to see this. And I've worked with people who would get up before their partners, of a few months, would wake up to do their makeup. That's a lot of work and a hell of a lot of a pain in the ass to have to do, because at some point they're going to have to see and get to know this person. And this is the person who, doesn't wear makeup all the time, whose hair is all over the place in the morning, who farts. That's life. So I think it's really important to try and be yourself as best as possible. Now, I'm not saying you go out and you fart at dinner, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, just talk about the things that you're interested in. Listen to the things that they're interested in. If you have no interest in them, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you won't. Or it doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship because you're not interested in things. And I think that's one of the challenges nowadays with dating apps, is because it's almost like a CV, and you're looking at the CV going, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, no, no. and it's like there's no context for it. So I might be on a dating app and someone sees, oh, he's big into his football. Yeah, no way, my ex was big into football and look how that went. But maybe we'd actually get on really, really well. And I think that's the thing. The internet brings more people into your life, but it also brings the checklist, and sometimes it's just about, well, let's just go and meet up and just see how we get on. And I think you're worried about not being attractive enough. There will be somebody out there who finds you attractive, because people are attracted to different things, different ways of being. Some people are not attracted to looks at all. They're attracted to personality. And I think there's an assumption out there that men just want stunningly beautiful women. But that's not necessarily true for all men. Not even pretty true for most men. We just want to find someone that we can connect with, who can understand us and who, they can get on with. So it's all right if you just go and be yourself. And be open and as honest as you want to be. If you want to go and meet somebody and go on a date and say, look, I've got 3 adult kids, I'm looking to start back, dating, and I just want to see what it's like. Let's just see how we get on. There's a good chance that you're probably going to find a decent relationship when you start off from that perspective. And the other thing I'd say is, I know your children are saying, go for it, Mum, right? They might look out for you too. So they might go, you're not good enough for you, right? But you just go, thanks very much. You do the exact same for them. You might turn around and go, not sure that person's good enough for you. But that's just an opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. So just go, start, and see how you get on. And don't worry about any rules. If your friends are saying to you, don't phone him yet, it's been too soon, so what? Ring him and be honest. Say, my friends are saying I shouldn't have called you, but I just wanted to have a chat. And if he goes, yeah, okay, look, it's probably a bit too soon for me, then that's okay. No bother. Talk to you again. It's all right. It's absolutely okay. Doesn't mean anything bad. It's all right. Just be yourself, and don't put pressure on yourself to have to find someone, that one special person. Just go and have some fun. And if you want to do things that you didn't expect to do it. If you don't. That's okay too. And best of luck. All right. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in and for all of your comments. I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you have a good week coming up. And yeah, I'll chat to you very soon. Take care.